Hey residents of Meepletown, today we are looking at Chronicles of Crime, the Millennium series, specifically 1400. We are taking on the role of a knight in Paris, not too far from the Notre Dame Cathedral, and we are trying to solve crimes within the city. If you're familiar with Chronicles of Crime, a lot of the things are going to be familiar, but let's get to the table. Check out Chronicles of Crime 1400. Okay, here is kind of the setup for Chronicles of Crime 1400. I'm not going to play through any of the game like I normally do, mainly because there's spoilers. I don't want to have any spoilers in the game other than what you're already going to see as soon as you set the game up anyway. So basically what you're looking at is you're going to have this board where you're going to be putting these different items onto the board as evidence for the crime that you are trying to solve. You also have locations that are a stack of locations that you're going to be revealing throughout the scenario, visiting these different locations. You're going to be meeting different people as you go through the game, and these people will give you more information. Some of them might be the ones that committed the crime. But essentially what you're trying to do is gather up as much information as you can, and at the end of the game, you're going to be answering, once you're ready to solve the crime, you're going to go to that place in the app and solve the crime. Now, this is an app-based game, and basically what you have is this app that is going to allow you to scan the different QR codes on the locations, on the items, on the people that you come across, not on these vision cards, and I'll talk about these in just a little bit, but when you scan those cards, it'll give you information. So you're going to be reading the information from your phone or whatever your device you're using. I recommend a phone because you'll be moving around a lot and scanning the different things. But basically, let's say you're at a location and then you want to search that location. You can do that, and when you search the location, it's going to show you the inside of that space, and you'll be looking around the room with your phone, visiting that different place and calling out the different items that you see, so that you can pull these cards out for those different items and then scan those and see if those are things that you need to be concerned about, for evidence, or if they're just things that don't really have any place in the in solving the crime. So that's kind of the big deal with scanning the searching at a location. But also, once you're at a location, let's say you run into a person that's there, I might scan this person and ask them about another person. Let's say even if that person's not at that location, if I'm engaged with them in conversation, then I can scan this card to ask about this person. And when I do that, I will get information about that if they know anything about it. Or I might, have this bottle or this whatever item, and I'll ask them about the item. So again, while I'm engaged in conversation, I would scan this card and they would tell me information if they have any information available. Now, what makes this one a little bit different than some of the other ones? So if you're familiar with Chronicles of Crime, all of that I just said is familiar, right? That's the same thing you're going to do in the other games. Now, what makes this one a little bit different, because all the different Chronicles of Crime have their own little special tweak to the rules, and this one has a couple. One is you have your home location where you'll be able to interact with these different characters. Now, that is not totally unique. We saw that in the original Chronicles of Crime, but it looked a little bit different than what it does here. Redview didn't have that at all. You didn't have the people that you can go to. Basically, in this one, you have your uncle who is a monk, and you can take usually books that the monk, that your uncle can kind of look at and see if there's anything interesting about that. You'll also have your sister who's a merchant, so you can take her items and she might have information about the different items that you bring to her. And then the spy, who is your brother, has information on a lot of different people in Paris, and so it's great to go to him if there's a question, you're trying to find out more information about some people that you've come across, maybe some shady characters. You also have Percival in this one. Percival is your dog companion, which is kind of one of the biggest things that sets this one apart. And what Percival will do is you can scan Percival and scan an item, scan a person, and then Percival will point to something in the room. So like, let's say I point to scan an item like bedding or something like that with Percival, and then Percival might point to the person in the room, saying like there's a connection here, that he smells a connection between that person and that item. Or it could be that when you scan an item, Percival knows that that item is with somebody somewhere else, and so might just take off running to another location. So in that sense, that can be bad. If you weren't ready to leave that location and time is of the essence, then that might not be great, but usually Percival's a good boy and will give you good information. The other thing is you're going to have these vision cards, and I'll just, let's see, I'll just throw one of those out there. Again, this isn't a spoiler per se, but as the game goes on, it could kind of be a spoiler. But basically you have these vision cards. Now you're not able to scan those vision cards. What they're going to do is they're going to give you information either about the present or about the near future, present, past. What happens is your character is a knight who has these visions. Ever since they were a kid, they had these dreams about these crimes that would happen, or that were about to happen. And so basically these vision cards will kind of guide you as you're finding out this different information. You can look at the vision cards and think, oh, okay, this makes sense that this kind of happened in this sequence in the dreams, which I think is really an interesting element to the game that really adds a lot to helping you kind of, one, to immerse you into this setting, but also to figure out the crime. I think it's a really cool mechanism. So, but those are the kind of the three big things that kind of set them apart. So again, like I said, you're going to play through the game. You're going to be interacting with different locations, with different people. You're going to interact with these different items. And then at the end of the game, solve the crime by answering a series of questions, and if you get a certain percentage right, you're going to win. But now time is of the essence, as I mentioned earlier. When you visit different locations, it's going to take 20 minutes off your time. When you interact with different things, that is going to, or people, that's going to take 5 minutes off of your time. And so you don't want to waste too much time in one location or bouncing back and forth. So that really, and you have like a day time to be able to get things done, basically. And so that's an interesting thing that you see in all the different Chronicles of Crime. Now, how does this compare? I'll kind of move into the review part. First off, let me talk about the art and components. They're fantastic. I mean, the game is excellently produced for what it is. It's just a bunch of cards, mostly, but the interaction between the app and the cards is great. I love it. I really enjoy the art that you do see on the dream cards, on the locations. All of those things really do immerse you in the setting that you're in, as well as when you're searching the scene, you can you actually feel like you're there because you're actually looking around the room and seeing all the different things that are going on in that room. So the production is really well done for what it is, but really the app is what drives this game. Now, on to the review. With that being said, if app-driven games aren't your thing, you might have avoided this anyway for that very specific reason. If you are trying to keep apps completely out, or technology completely out of your games, this is not going to be a game for you. But what I like about this game is that it immerses you in the setting through all of these different avenues. You really feel like you're solving this crime. You're interacting with people. You have feelings towards the people. You might feel bad for a character, or you might be just very upset at how one character treated another character, or somebody looks suspicious. They feel suspicious. It really does a great job in all of these games. All the ones that I've played all of them except Noir so far, and I have Noir, I just haven't got it to the table, but they all immerse you in this setting in a way that feels like that particular setting, if that makes sense. So like when you play Red View, the mechanism in that one is that you're rolling these dice for your checks, and that will it kind of gives you this feeling that you're involved in like this 80s RPG, like a really not complex, but just this minimally done RPG. But it immerses you because it feels like an 80s setting. This one does the same thing with a lot of different in a lot of different ways. The dream cards really makes you feel like you've had these visions of what could happen, and then as you're uncovering information, it's like you had this dream and there's a little bit of a haze to that dream. You don't remember all the details, but as these different things start to unfold, then you start to see, I remember this part of my dream. It actually feels that way, which I love. I think that's really cool. Percival is a really cool addition to have, a companion to kind of help you out with finding out more information about these items and is this character related to this melee weapon? Well, Percival might be able to sniff that out and tell you, sniff the weapon out and then point to a character, and that character has had an interaction with that weapon. And I just think that's so cool. I love how all of these games do this, but this one is one that I have enjoyed quite a bit. So if you've played Chronicles of Crime, do you need this? Well, I would say if you've played through all of the scenarios, then yes. I think moving on to this is a good step. You don't need to have the initial Chronicles of Crime game. You could just straight up buy this one that has everything that you need to be able to play the game. You just have to download the app and then download the different scenarios. You could start here totally. You don't have to have the initial Chronicles of Crime. What I would say is, for me, how I would rank these, I don't really know. I love the setting of Redview. I thought that was really cool. For this one, it's really close. I think I like this one quite a bit. The setting I think is cool. The way that your uncle, your family members interact with the different cards in the game, the different items and people. And the way Percival works out, but especially the way these vision cards work out. These are my favorite thing of the game. But I would say if you want to dip your toes into Chronicles of Crime, and this is a setting that interests you, this 1400, medieval Paris setting, if that interests you, I definitely would start here. I would go with this one and not feel like you're missing anything from those other scenarios. So for me, this one gets an 8. This is a game that I like quite a bit. My wife and I play this frequently. This is one that we really love to play together, and we really feel immersed in the scenarios. So it gets an 8. As far as ranking them, this one's up towards the top with Redview. I would put them on par. I might give the slight edge to Redview, but I actually like the mechanisms in this one a little bit better, but it's the setting that I like, that 80s setting. But this one is so well done. Well done on this one, Chronicles of Crime 1400. Now, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out to us at Mapletown Games on all of our social media outlets. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can you can email us at Mapletown Games or go to our website, mapletowngames.com. Or if you want to reach out to us on BoardGameGeek.com, we are guild number 3407. Until next time, thanks for coming down to Mapletown.
Thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Mapletown Games, and connect with us on the Mapletown Guild, guild number 3407, at BoardGameGeek.com, and also subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. And until next time, thanks for coming down to Mapletown.